best known of the 6 string quartets that Joseph Haydn composed and published in 1793 is the G minor masterpiece under review in this video. As with a good many of his minor key works over the course of 4.5 creative decades, this one ends in the parallel major, so we have again a case of the gradual ascendancy of major over minor. A greatly expanded instance, actually, of the convention known as Picardy third, in which a minor key work closes in the tonic major. The opening movement begins with a brusque triadic unison gesture, graced, if that's the word, by acciacchaturas, crushed grace notes that might well sound humorous in some other context, but here strike this listener as somewhat threatening. The threat becomes palpable in measure 5 with the first actual chord of the piece, being the tension-fraught German augmented sixth. And the half cadence set up by that chord is followed by a cavernous silence of over 2 measures duration. What a striking way to begin a movement. Those opening measures are not formally introductory either, despite the impression they might leave. This is not an introduction set apart from the rest of the movement by the positioning of the exposition repeat, as in other instances of these 2 sets, Opera 71 and 74. This is part of the theme, and its primary motive will infect the whole, as we will see during the unfolding of this G minor essay. One of the most unusual features of this 3/4 time movement is the complete absence of beat-dividing eighth notes. Instead, the beats are divided exclusively by triplets and dotted figures. No wonder this music sounds so energy-charged, so propulsive in its forward thrust. The second group is rich and varied, the development offers much food for thought, and the second group returns in G major, a microcosm of the quartet as a whole. What happens next is extraordinary. The slow-moving ABA form second movement is set in the ethereal key of E major, a key that could be described as the major submediant, as though such a description had any meaning, and not to be confused with the flat submediant, which is also major in quality. A better way to account for its presence in this composition is to appeal to its B section set in E minor being the relative key of G major in which the first movement ended, but I guess that's getting a little arcane. This music sounds as if it comes from a different universe and is just filled with deeply affecting passages that tug the heartstrings. The most striking moment happens at the downbeat of measure 8, which in this score serendipitously arrives just after a page turn, so there's no way you can anticipate it. What a sound! It's a splendid example of how breathtaking the use of the German augmented sixth chord is when it appears in a major key, not a minor one. I simply don't have words for how glorious this sound is. Since the 2 parts of theme A are marked for repeat, although the Kodály Quartet, as usual, ignores the second of those repeats, we get to hear that gorgeous moment twice, and then wonderfully intensified by a first violin arpeggio during the reprise. That reprise also includes a haunting, shuddering presentation of a couple of measures of theme A. This movement is a masterpiece. The dance movement returns us to the world of G, and the presentation is that of a G major minuet flanking a parallel minor trio, the reverse of what we'd normally expect to encounter. The minuet is painted in broad brushstrokes, and its internal reprise is worked out to considerable length compared to its first strain. The G minor trio captures the quartet's overall seriousness with contrapuntally adroit music that's guaranteed to engage you. The finale opens with a propulsive, bouncing G minor theme that is responsible for the quartet's nickname. This movement unspools kaleidoscopically, the themes growing directly out of each other with never a moment's rest until the halting, jinking development section that's sure to catch your ear. Of course, the movement, and with it the quartet, ends brightly in G major, a superb way to cap off Haydn's Opus 74 quartets, and an equally fine way for me to draw this Haydn series to a close. It's been a wonderful musical adventure for me, the best of my life, I believe. And it's been nice to have my viewers along for the ride. There will be a few Mozart Quartet videos coming next, and beyond that, let's see what the coronavirus brings. Stay safe and well for as long as you can.
Thank you.